Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Expert Division with the tournament win here for the Vineyard Acres 9-hole cup in Golf Clash the game. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. Last but not least, get the ultimate tournament guides on Patreon. Link to patreon.com/golfclashtommy is directly in the description down below. In the end though, this is going to be a very interesting tournament. You will see a mix of free-to-play balls but also some special balls in this playthrough, trying to give you the best possible information already here at the start. Use the info box on the right hand side where you can get the elevation adjustment for all the shots in this playthrough, but also what type of ball and club I do feel is going to be the best ones to play with here. Also, can we get this video up to 100 likes? That would be very thankful, so make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well before you are done. In the end though, let's freaking go to hole number 1. For hole 1 in Expert, we're going for green like all other division except for Master. And now we're going to play this one with an Apocalypse level 5. And the reason I want to play with Apocalypse is not so much for its distance, it's more or less for its curl. Because here with a wind coming right to left, the curl is going to be very important. I'm going to use, in the end, 4 bars of topspin and max side spin to the right. And we're going to stretch out so we see the end of the yellow ring to be by the rough line. That's going to be our starting point. Adjusting maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment. We then push up our club into max, and now you can see we get the correct spin. And then we're gonna go full overpower, but as you can see, I'm only using 1.5 ball of curl outside to the right. We would like to go with at least the 2 balls. We could even go with even a little bit more, because now we're playing very dangerously close to the rough. Not that it's going to be a problem for a wedge being there on the left side, because we're going to have a straight wind towards the pin, but again, you know, with a bad great left with that type of curl will definitely make that ball go into the rough instead of staying on the fairway, and then the eagle is going to definitely be in risk. So make sure that you do go with more curl than what I show here. Choose the Apocalypse as a driver, as we do want to have the curl. And even though you have the Apocalypse in level 1, I would honestly rather go with that type of club than any other driver here, even though it would be a power 4 ball that is needed with an Apocalypse level 1, 2 and also 3. But in the end though, this should and need to be an eagle here on hole number 1, and that's at least our goal, and that's what we got here as well. For hole number 2, we are going to give our sniper a go, and here the thing that we're looking for is that we're looking for the red ring at the bottom by the rough line, and then we're going to apply spin. So we're going to have to apply spin first before we're finding the position that we do want. 5 bars of backspin, 5 bars of side spin to the right, and here we can see we're changing around a little bit again, and we're ending up to go with a little bit less than 5 bars of backspin. So 4.8 backspin, and now we do have the tip of the ball guideline halfway through the dark green square row, approximately 2 green square rows before the pin. Adjusting, in this case, 9.5 rings, which is medium distance with a 20% over adjustment. We get this ball to bounce very nicely, and in the end it looks like we're coming in a little bit hot, but the ball would stop very closely, but due to the tailwind we're gonna have a couple more bounces and it looks like we're coming in hot. But in the end though, if I could drop this one another time, I would take that all day and every day. Yes, hole number 3, we play with the Apocalypse here as well. And sure, you could play this one with an extra mile and even the rock if needed. Extra mile 8 will also work. But in the end though, I would like us to play with Apocalypse to give ourselves the most distance. But in the end, I wanted to be very clear with that you can play with whatever type of driver that you do have basically. And in the end, Extra Mile is a club that is definitely not forgotten, and it's nice to actually use it from time to time. Maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, going with max top spin and as much side spin to the right possible. And once adjusted from overpowered position, we're gonna go with as much curl to the right possible, which is gonna be approximately one ball outside the adjustment ring to the right. And then we're going to let it rip. So the ball is then going to, in this case, gets a little glitch roll, but the further down the fairway we're gonna be, the better it's going to be as well. Because here I'm not going to go for a rough bump. We're going to try to catch the funnel that is on the screen, because there is a funnel coming from the top right down towards the pin, and obviously the longer you're getting on the fairway, the easier it's going to be to wiggle around with the thorn, because now I'm kind of playing with absolute max distance of my club, and it's going to be a bit difficult here for me when going into B52 when I have to change spin all the time. I'm using all but half a bar of backspin, 1 bar of left spin, ball guideline slightly through the hole, and then we're going to adjust maximum distance with no elevation. We do adjust that, but now we're running out of time, so I'm stressing my shot away, do hit a great right, and now with a bad great right, we're still gonna get up and fall down, but we're not going to get that ball into the hole for an albatross, as obviously we had a great right. But with a minor great right or a minor great left and with a perfect, this is a very good chance for an albatross, and the reason I go with that instead of the rough bump is due to the fact that we do have the tailwind and going to have to adjust so far down that it's going to be hard to compensate enough for the elevation difference there with that shot. So backspin shot on the green if possible. If finding yourself kind of in between clubs or that you don't reach with your short iron to green, then you go for a rough bump with your short iron in maximum distance instead. For hole number 4, we are going to attempt a rough bump, and we're going to do that with the Goliath due to its enormous topspin. Almost max topspin, 1 bar side spin to the right, and then we're going to, in the end, go with the Daruma hole. I'm changing to a season 21 ball there, and also to try to see if we're going to be in max or minimum distance. Once again, all but half a bar of topspin, and then 1 bar side spin to the right, ball guideline to the hole, and then it's time to adjust. And in this example, I do adjust maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment, which I would like us to change to play maximum distance with a 15% over adjustment instead. And the reason I want us to change to 15 is due to the fact that we will be pulling too much here, and the ball will be clipping the rough as we wanted to, but we will miss this cup to the left hand side. So max plus 15 power 1 ball settings, and I would also say don't pull over the bullseye, pull to the bullseye to get the more accurate adjustment. For hole number 5 in Expert, we're going to use the tailwind in our favor. So here I'm using the Berserker ball. I do unfortunately aim a little bit too much to the left here with my shot, but you're gonna notice what I'm looking for here. Okay, first and foremost, if you do not have an Apocalypse level 5 plus, then you have to play with a lower level, like an Extra Mile level 8, Apocalypse 4 or something like that, then you will have to have wind at least at 12 miles per hour, otherwise you will not reach to that fairway on top. Adjusting max plus 10, and then we're going to push up to max. And once again, have in mind that I am a little bit too much to the left. We should be starting at least 4 or 5 reins more to the right. Now we do hit a great ball left, which is not going to help me either when using max curl to the left. And you can see here that we definitely have the distance to reach over to the fairway, but we're coming way too much to the left. So we need to start more right to be able to hit the ball to the fairway. But now you may be thinking that, okay, now we got into the rough, now the eagle is done. No, it's not. We can actually reach, even for a rough bump, for a very, very bad opportunity, but still no problem to get to the green at all. And you can also use the fairway before and bounce over, use curl and stuff like that. So don't be alarmed about that. That's why I do believe taking the risk that we're doing on this tough par 5 to actually, in the best possible scenario, getting yourself into a long iron or a short iron range with a power 5 ball for an albatross is definitely worth taking that type of risk. You can also see that I'm having the snow globe ball there as an option, and the snow globe ball is definitely the ball that will give you, you know, more wind. And the more wind, the easier it's going to be. And especially if you do have a Berserker ball that gives you maybe like a 9.5 or 10 miles per hour, it would be beneficial to change to the Snow Globe to always have minimum 11 miles per hour in wind. And then you will be carrying that rough more times than not. And once again, in a worst case scenario, you can get that ball to green anyway. No elevation for the second shot, wherever you end up, if it's rough sand or fairway. But, you know, in the end, might not be the super duper most like safe shot. But in the end, it will definitely bring us to an interesting position for the second shot. For hole number 6, we are going to transport ourselves down the fairway using the quarterback, as we do have tailwind, so we don't really need to have any, you know, club with power for that matter. 3.5 bar topspin, and we're letting the blue ring be by the rough line, ball guideline pointing straight down there. In the end though, we should consider using a little side spin here, and I'm happy that I'm actually doing so. And yes, I did know that I did so, but it sounded so like dramatically when I said it. Max plus 10. Which is 8.3 rings. And once we're done that, we're not going to push up the max in any form, we're just going to take our shot. Perfect ball, and the ball is going to travel itself down to around 315 yard mark. But as we're not playing a linear hole, as we're playing straight forward and left instead of playing straight forward, then the yardage doesn't really matter. Because in the end, we're going to have a different amount of distance towards the pin, depending on if we're more left or more right from on the fairway after our drive. Now I'm first looking at the rough bump, but now when adding the spin here, I'm definitely looking at the ball guideline and see how glitchy it is. So I'm removing that option from myself and go back and just play it as I normally do. And then in the end, I do play with 2.5 bar backspin, and I'm using 2 bars of left spin and using, you can see, half of the blue ring inside the rough. Now adjusting with a 0 in elevation. So I'm playing minimum distance with no elevation. And in the end, the reason I play 0 with minimum is instead of playing 25% club using -10. So then we rather play 0 and play minimum distance to make it easier for ourselves. And oh my god, can we be more unlucky on that one? Good chance though, in my opinion. But in the end though, as always with a sniper from distance, it's never gonna be your consistent drops. But if we can get this one to drop from time to time, I'm gonna be super pleased. Number 7, the final of the par 3, we're playing with the sniper. 10% over adjustment, medium distance, power 1 ball settings. Now we're looking for the white ring to the left by the start of the rough on the left, with the red ring by the rough to the right. So to trying to box our rings in there like that is going to be very beneficial for us. 5 bars of backspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right. And you can see that we are aiming deliberately a little bit to the right of the pin. Now, once again, adjusting medium distance with a 10% over adjustment. And you will notice that the wrestle will become that the ball will be missing the pin just on the right. So the thing that I would like us to tweak here on this specific shot is not to change anything with our adjustment per se, but just change with the spin. We do want to play with 1.5 bar side spin to the right instead, which would make us aim to the right side of the cup instead of to the right of the pin, I meant, instead of right side of the cup. So have that in mind. 1.5 bar side spin to the right, 5 back spin, white ring by the rough to the left, red ring to the rough on the right, and then medium distance plus 10 power 1 ball settings. For hole number 8, I was looking first and foremost, should we go for a rough bump here by the green? But when we do have this tailwind directly at the pin, I do believe that the rough bump is going to be too much of a risk for the reward we're gonna get, especially when we don't have many days on us to dial it in. But first and foremost then, so we look at what type of ball we're gonna play with. I'm going at a Kingmaker here. You don't have to play with a Kingmaker. You can play with another type of power 3 ball if you want to. You can even play with a more wind resistance ball if you want to as well, because in the end, it's not going to matter that much what ball you have for the drive. Most importantly is the side spin, and side spin 2 is definitely going to be enough. I'm adjusting maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment for topspin, max right spin, and then I'm using the ball to be, when I pull it out, it's going to be 1.5 ball outside the ring to the right. But my reference is more, I pull the ball out to the right, so it's outside the top right arrow as for curl. Second shot is going to be without elevation using the Guardian max backspin, and now we're going to try to take a look at the second and the final bounce. So, and the thing that we're looking for here is the second bounce to be kind of halfway up on the fairway, and then the third bounce kind of pointing down towards the pin. Very hard to measure and read, as again, you know, you don't have a fully developed ball guideline on your Guardian. Adjustment is, I'm adjusting medium distance, no elevation here for this shot, which is gonna be 6.1 rings. And then it's time to take our shot. The reason I don't want you to play with a sniper here is because the backspin is not going to be enough, and you won't be having the ball to fall back down. And once again, the rough bump is, in my book, out of the question because it's gonna be too tricky overall. Very close making an eagle here, but if I get an eagle here, it's gonna be a major bonus, and I hope I will get it in the final round, as, you know, getting that eagle consistently, it's not gonna happen. For hole number 9, we're going to play with the rock or the quarterback for the drive. I would, however, though, prefer the quarterback due to the fact that we do have you know, it often in a same type of power, same type of accuracy compared to the rock, which is different in many of the levels. You that do have Apocalypse level 7+ or Thor Saber level 7+ could actually give it a go trying to cross the rough. Well, like, not cross the rough completely, but clipping the rough and roll out on the other fairway. It's going to be a risky shot though, and you will have to be a bit lucky. But there is definitely a possibility to reach over. Those of you not having those type of clubs that I just mentioned, then you shouldn't even attempt it, because you are playing with such a small margin, and I would say with an Apop 5 and below, it's going to be almost impossible. And then your only thing that you're going to do is that you're going to struggle getting the eagle in the end, no matter what. Second shot though is going to be a transport shot down the fairway, and we're going to look for doing this with the Cataclysm, and we're going to try to get to use a decent amount of topspin here. We don't need to use a maximum topspin, but we're going to use at least, you know, 6 bars of topspin, trying to get the ball down the fairway. And we do not want the ball to roll too far, because the short, like, if we just get past the trees, as you can see that I changed the camera angle, there you can see that we do have a straight tailwind towards the pin, and we should always try to take advantage over those situations, as that will be easier to make that ball drop. 6 bars of topspin, as I said, 1 bar left spin. We adjust max with no elevation, push up to max. Had to rush my shot in the end and unfortunately hit great, but it doesn't really matter. A great ball or perfect, we have a lot of fairway to play on, and now we do have an open shot towards the pin. Third shot is gonna be with a short iron, and we play with the Thorn or Hornet or Falcon, whatever club you feel comfortable with. I do judge this one to be approximately 75% of my club, leaving the ball guideline approximately 1 green square short of pin to compensate for the extended ball guideline we're gonna have when we do have a tailwind. No elevation whatsoever here, and I'm not going to pull over the bullseye. I'm actually pulling to the bullseye, as you can see there. This due to that we can actually see the ball guideline in the center of the yellow ring. So then we do pull to the bullseye instead of pulling over. Perfect ball. And then we see this ball bounce, and we like the camera angle, and we get that one nicely in for an eagle here on hole number 9. And an eagle is an extra drop. Birdie will be the general score here on 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Expert with the tournament win for the Vineyard Acres 9-hole cup here in Golf Clash the game. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and make sure to subscribe to the channel, click that bell button, get the notification every time we are live or making a video. In the end though, thank you so much for watching and good luck in your Golf Clash game.